okay? There we go, sorry. And I asked them, which I often do, how did they feel about it? You know, just because one of them, she made an 84, which is a very good grade, okay, for the theory. And she was like, you know, Miss Mary, you were right. It was mostly the science and mostly the nail disorders, diseases. They rarely ask about anything pertaining to nails. I mean, it's nearly 50% of scientific stuff. So, although these chapters may seem a little boring, right? Or like, oh my God, when are we going to start laying acrylic? You're going to lay acrylic when you get out of here, I promise you that, right? But you have to know this stuff. This chapter, I feel, and I know y'all hear me say it all the time that I love, you know, this is my favorite chapter, this is my favorite chapter. It is all of my favorite chapters, but this one is very important because it's going to help you to troubleshoot. Some of you guys are doing stuff with nails every day, right? Playing around with nail stuff, you're playing with gel, you're playing with acrylic, you're doing Gel X, all that stuff, maybe press-ons, whatever. And there's going to come times where you're doing something and you're like, why did it do that? Right? And you're like, why is my polish bubbling? Why is the gel peeling? Why is it not curing? What is it? What is this stuff? Why do I need a dehydrator? Do I need a primer? What is a primer? Some of y'all don't even know what it is. You just be slapping it on. And you're like, I did it because the girl on the YouTube video did it. And it's like, you don't even know what it's doing or why it's doing. And then on top of that, your retention, meaning how long the nails last, the biggest thing y'all get from new nail techs is, why are my nails popping off? Why are they lifting? Why are they not lasting? I want my nails to last 6 weeks like the girls on TikTok, which first of all, that is not realistic, okay? Y'all, let's normalize every 2 week, 3 week at max fill-ins, okay? Let's not keep thinking that it's okay for our clients to go 5-6 weeks without fill-ins. That's extreme. I was out of the country. I couldn't get to you. That's type of deal. That is not maintenance, okay? So let's normalize that in our heads, y'all, okay? Maintenance is 2-3 weeks max, okay? If you're not doing it, then there's gonna be problems with lifting and stuff like that. Nails might lift a little bit, but the reason why this chapter is so important is because you need to know the chemistry so that you will know why your products do what they do or why they're not doing what you think they should do, okay? So it's very important, and I want you guys to take notes on this chapter especially for future reference. Yes, dear?
What is this under the Google Classroom? Like, you know how you added it?
Yeah.
You can get a book.
Yeah, I got a book here up here so you can follow along for now for the theory. I haven't popped it up yet. The theory should have been there, but you know, I don't know what I'm gonna teach until I come in the morning.
Okay, because
I just kind of
and then I write on it.
But I can pop it up for you real quick on the classroom. That's not a problem. Yeah, I can. Let me do it real quick. Because you're right. I think it's not there. Okay. So we are in chapter, I believe it's 5. Hold on, let me. Classroom, stream.
I like the design on there. It kind of looks like full a little bit.
Where is my add assignment? Hold on, let me go here. Give me 1 moment and I will pop it up for you. Cause you use a tablet, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha. Oops.
Oh, so I got a job offer this
You
week.
did? To do what?
Yes. So I've been working from home for a remote company for like 5 years. And they laid us off. So it's similar to that. It's still 100% remote. I'll be making $20 and I get paid every week. But I'll basically be helping people pay their traffic violations and like routing them to pay.
Like, girl, can you drop this whole did y'all see how the Popo was out this weekend? They Operation something. Yeah.
They finding people.
Okay, here it is.
But I guess the fatality from car accidents.
Yeah, they do got a lot. But you know, I'm over here like, y'all worried about people speeding. Meanwhile, we got all this other stuff going on. Come on now. Yeah, so. Okay, it should be. Hold on, let me let you refresh. I need to refresh. Excuse me. There we go. Post. Okay, you should see it now.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, nail product chemistry. All right. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to learn about these chemical terms. Okay, things that you're going to know. Again, I say this all the time when it comes to the science stuff. You're probably never going to use these words ever again, but it's very important that you know them for what? State board, okay? No one's walking around going, oh, these oligomers and all of these catalysts, and nobody's saying that, okay? But again, for state board purposes, we're going to talk about the differences between gases, vapors, and fumes. Three very different things, and you need to know the difference again for state board purposes. We're going to talk about what adhesives are, adhesion, how you achieve it, okay? And very important when we're talking about sticking these nails onto our nail plates, right? And the difference between dehydrators and primers, okay? We're going to talk about the chemistry behind, the adhesion and how that happens. And also, we're going to talk about different nail coatings, all right? Their chemical and physical properties and the reactions that happen when we apply them, as well as how you can minimize exposure to these chemicals, because these chemicals that we use can be very harmful to our health and our clients' health if we're not careful, okay? So let's jump right into it. As a nail technician, first of all, a lot of what we do is heavily reliant on our knowledge of chemistry, okay? I know that a lot of us, we get into nails, the last thing we think about is chemistry, but it is all chemicals that we're working with. In order for them to work, we need to know a little bit about how they work, because if, again, you pick up a bead and you're like, what is going on here? Why is it doing what? Have you ever thought about what's actually happening? When you pick up, why can't we use water and powder? Why can't we use milk and powder, or alcohol or acetone and powder? What is a monomer? What makes these things work, okay? So we're going to dive into that a little bit. So understanding chemical or chemistry and product knowledge is going to allow you to, number one, troubleshoot when things go wrong, okay? It's going to help you solve some of the problems that you have with your clients when it comes to product breakdown, meaning why your product is not lasting or the nails are not lasting, and also problems that your clients are having with their nails, because you put them on, you do a perfect job putting them on, they last, but maybe the client's having issues with it chipping or the polish peeling or just all kinds of stuff that they have issues come back and tell you about later. Now, whatever I'm teaching you today, if you want to keep your clients, you're going to teach it to them too, okay? To help them understand why they don't need to be eating Kentucky Fried Chicken while you're doing their nails. Don't bring no food and sit down at my table while I'm doing your nails and be sucking on your fingers after I just prepped and primed them, okay? And if they want their X dollar nails, amount of money, nails to last, then they will follow your instructions. And when you teach somebody something, you usually they never leave you. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, it's also knowing this information is going to boost your credibility as a professional. Okay, people are going to listen. I don't want to know what's going on. Let me ask Miss Mary. She knows. Trust me, I have to sit here and answer questions all day long, and what I really want to say? You need to go to school, baby. My school. Okay, not just any school, but my school. You need to go to school because you got a whole lot of questions about stuff that you use every single day. Okay, so nail technicians should have a thorough understanding of chemistry also, because you will be better equipped to solve the problems when things go wrong. Not only that, but also have a deeper understanding of certain professional products that you maybe have never seen before. You don't always have to buy the matte top coat. There's other ways to do it, right? You can buff it. I did it last night on my live all night. Didn't you see that? If you don't have matte top coat, you can matte a nail. You just gonna buff it with a really fine buffer. Boom, matte. Easiest, prettiest, cheapest matte you ever got, right? You don't have to buy the blooming gel. Why? Because blooming gel is what? Anybody know? Top coat.
I didn't know that.
I thought that.
It is. It is. Okay, there's nothing fancy about it. It's top coat, and then they charge you twice as much for it. You know, understanding that nail glue is the same as super glue.
Yeah.
It's the same. If you look at the ingredients, cyanoacrylate, they are the same. There's different viscosities of glues, right? Thicknesses. And at the end of the day, they're all glues, whether it's in a bottle of nail glue or a big bottle of Gorilla Glue. Okay, now please, don't put Gorilla Glue on your clients. Why? We have little nail professional bottles of glue that you can use or brush on glue. Be professional, right? So, with that being said, we're going to discuss some of the product or some of these attributes today. Okay. Now, before we go too far, let's knock these three out. What is the difference in the behavior of gases, vapors, and fumes? Now, one of the things that really irks my nerves, and again, this is because I am a teacher. Okay. But when I hear other teachers, and I hear it all the time, or other 40-year professionals, you know, like me, that have been doing this a long time, say things like, ooh, the fumes in here. Ooh, yeah, you can smell the fumes. Okay, so I know y'all probably like, why I say that? Because you loud and wrong. You know, love that combination, loud and wrong. Okay, but, you know, again, not understanding the differences of these things is what makes your terminology incorrect. And again, I can tell a true professional, one that is very highly educated by that way they talk. You can too, right? Just how people talk, you can usually tell if they, you know, you listen to my mama talk, baby, you're going to think she was, which she is. She has a PhD, okay? And she's a teacher too. So she always was like, be an example. I try to be an example to you guys and say the right terms. Sometimes I mess up too, but now I want you guys to try to use the right terms when we're talking. So, gases, vapors, and fumes. Gases, vapors, and fumes. Gases, vapors, and fumes. Okay, let's start with the gas. All right, so the vast majority of chemicals that you are going to come in contact with during your lifetime are completely safe. Okay, most of them are beneficial, a lot of the chemicals. Everything around you is made of chemicals, everything, even water, isn't it? Isn't it part of the chemical, what is that, periodic table of elements? Isn't H2 and O, right? So a chemical, the definition of a chemical is a substance obtained by a chemical process or producing a chemical effect, okay? So everything is a chemical. Even the food we eat is broken down into elements, right? So even though we say water is a chemical, did you know that there's a such thing as having too much of it? It's water to toxicity. You ever heard of that? Right? So even while something like poison ivy is a natural thing, you still wouldn't put it as an ingredient in lotion, would you? You wouldn't want to do that, right? So education on product ingredients, remember I just said, you look at a glue bottle, a bottle of super glue versus nail glue, it's going to have basically one ingredient, cyanoacrylate. So when you know these ingredients, it's going to help you decide whether you're going to use the product or not. Now, since people cannot easily see the differences between these three things, okay, gas, fume, and vapor, these terms are often confused. But if you think about it, it's going to make sense, because, you know, I love to make y'all understand how these words work. So a gas, okay, gas. Ooh, child. I think I'm a little gassy this morning. But a gas is a state of matter consisting of particles which have neither a defined volume nor defined shape. Very different from these other two, okay? So what do I mean by that? I mean, let's just put it out there. You got boys, don't you? Y'all got kids. Or hell, you a human. We all get gas. If you could see the gas, all of us would be in trouble. I know I would be. Y'all would be like, damn, Miss Mary, you all right up there? Green gas coming up every 5 minutes, right? But you can't see it, right? You can smell it. You can smell all of these. okay? But you can't see gas. It's just there. And we either hopefully know it's there, because you think about when people fall asleep at night and they're what is that called? That gas, if your gas is leaking, you have a gas leak, people can die from that. Carbon monoxide. You can't see that. It has no definitive shape, right? It's just there, okay? So gas, again, very different from vapors and fumes, but it is just a no defined volume. You can't trap it, put it in one place, catch it, see it, wave it away, okay? Now, vapors, again, very different. Vapors come from liquids. It started as a liquid, right? So what is an example of a vapor? Because what happens with it starts as a liquid, turns into a vapor because it evaporated, right? The word evaporate is important in this definition. So what is something that starts as a liquid and can evaporate? Water, number one. What is some that we use in the nail industry? Monomer evaporates, yes. What else? Alcohol, acetone. And when it does evaporate, or even when you pull it out, you can smell it, right? It has an odor, right? So the correct term to use if you were to walk into a nail salon and you smelled an odor, you wouldn't say, oh my God, all these fumes in here. What would you say? The vapors. But does that sound right? It don't sound right, right? Ooh, the vapors. I can smell all these vapors. Nobody says that, right? They're like, ooh, the fumes. But it's not fumes, actually. It's the vapors. So all types of nail enhancement systems will form some type of vapor, a monomer liquid, even UV gels, the nail wrap resins, which is basically glue, right? They evaporate too. And adhesives, okay? So these all produce vapors. Another one that you cannot necessarily see, but you can smell it, okay? Now, fumes, on the other hand, and this is why it makes sense when you think about why you shouldn't say fumes. Fumes is a blend of soot-like particles mixed with vapors. So that means that if it's soot-like, what does that mean is happening?
It leaves like a residue kind of?
Well, yeah, this soot is going to leave a residue, but if it produces soot, how come it's turned into soot? What is happening? It means that there's probably something burning, right? Yeah. Something's on fire, something's heated up, something is about to catch on fire, right? That soot is coming up from something that is on fire, okay? Or something burning, like candles, incense, cigarettes, gasoline in the car engine. You can actually see fumes, can't you? Yeah. You can't see none of the other two, but you can see fumes. So if you walk in a salon and you say, oh, all these fumes in here, you better run, you better call the fire department. Something's on fire, right? So that's does everybody now understand the difference between the three, right? Gas has no shape. Vapors, they evaporate, for they were liquid, they evaporate and disappear. And fumes, you can physically see them, okay? And there's something burning, all right? So just so you guys know, that's the proper terminology. I think you guys got it. All right. Now, let's talk about adhesion, because when we do nails, this is something that we hope and pray we're doing it good, or we're doing it well as far as adhesion is concerned, okay? So so let's describe the function of adhesion, talk about adhesives, and also primers in nail products, okay? So adhesion and adhesives. What adhesives and nail primers ensure that nail products stay on the nail, right? Okay. So adhesion, the definition of that word, is a force of nature that makes two surfaces stick together, okay? A force of nature that makes two surfaces stick together. Now, this results, how does this happen? Like, how does it stick? Well, these molecules from one surface are attracted to the molecules on another surface, and they come together and they just, they stick like glue, right? But there has to be certain circumstances to make that happen in a lot of cases when it comes to nails, all right? So there's certain things that are going to prevent this from happening, like, anybody want to give me an idea? What is something that will prevent a nail tip from sticking? Oil. What else?
If it's wet.
Chicken grease, dirt, dust, even the dust from the nail. When you, one of my students says she's going to come in today, and I'm going to make her tell y'all this is the truth. Geo, y'all met Geo, right? Miss Green Hair Geo, right? She texted me yesterday. She was like, Miss Mary, I'm so happy. I did some nails and they lasted 3 weeks. Not one of them popped off. I said, congratulations. She was like, what you told me was the truth. It helped. And I was like, well, what was that? Because I tell y'all a lot of stuff and I don't remember what I told you. She was like, wiping the nail dust. I never did that before. After, filing the nail and getting the roughing or etching the nail, filing the cuticle or pushing the cuticle back and filing on the nail, there's always like white dust on the nail. And she's like, I usually would just dust it off with a duster and just continue on. I was like, yeah, well, the best thing to do is to cleanse it. Why? Because you're basically just leaving this dust on the nail, which is cuticle, isn't it? Cuticle is skin. So you've got all this skin just like on the nail and in the sidewalls. Instead of cleaning that off, now it's going to be a barrier for your product to stick. Okay? So knowing these things is going to help you. She was like, thank you so much, because that was the first time, and I've been doing nails that all of them lasted 3 weeks, and I did that, changed that one thing. I do one-on-ones with people where they'll call me and say, I just need your help. I'm not having good luck with, this, that, and the third. And I always tell them, because what are you doing? And I'm like, no, just let's video call. Let me see your process. And usually I can spot it that quick. And it's usually those that my nails are peeling, they're lifting. Well, you ain't cleansing the nail. Your client just walked in from eating Baldino subs and the oil and the vinegar and all of that stuff, and you just sat them right at the table and started doing their nails. Well, I've sprayed them with alcohol. That's not enough. Alcohol doesn't remove oil per se. You got to wash the hands with soap and water, right? First thing first, the hands, not just the fingertips, because you're touching that client's fingers. You can clean the fingertips, but what about all the oil and residue from your hands? Wash your hands. All of this stuff is important, and it all comes together, right? And so sometimes just changing a little bit of what you normally do will change your entire nail career. Trust me. Ask her. She'll tell you. She was like, I'm so excited. All right. Now, adhesives, it's a chemical that causes two surfaces to stick together, right? Because we can't just put a tip on the nail, it's gonna stick. We gotta have something in between it, little meat between the sandwich, between the sandwich bread, right? So adhesives allow incompatible surfaces to be joined. And there's all different kinds of glues out there, right? You got your super glues, your nail glues, you've got your glue sticks, right? We couldn't use that on nails, could we? That's not even the right type of, it's not even technically a glue, it's just a hot plastic, isn't it? So there's many types of adhesives out here, and different adhesives are compatible with different surfaces, right? You go to Lowe's and you'll see wood glue, right? And it's usually like Elmer's glue, right? But you couldn't use super glue on wood because I guess it's too runny, or it just absorbs into the wood, right? So it's different types of glues for different types of things, all right? So moving right along. Now, nail primer. A lot of y'all are using nail primer. You have no idea what it is, okay? And this can be very dangerous. You want to be very careful with primer. But so let's talk about what it actually is. Primer is well, let me ask you guys, what is it? What do you think it is?
Something that preps the nail for base coat.
Okay.
I think of
Yeah. Right? Because you know when you get your car painted, they don't just spray the color on there. They prime it down with some ugly, dusty gray color or you know some other non-shiny paint. What about like primer that you use on your face for makeup? Why do we use? Anybody use primer for on their face for makeup? I used to, but I don't even wear it that much anymore. It helps it stay right. It's gonna help if you, especially here in this hot summer. If you've got makeup on and you don't put like a good primer or at least you know, powder your face real good, you're going to have it melt right off your face, right? So primers are going to help with adhesion. It helps improve adhesion. So there's 3 basic types of primers, all right? There's acid primers, acid-based primers, non-acid primers, and acid-free. Doesn't that sound weird? Non-acid and acid-free. Wouldn't that be the same thing? Well, it's kind of not. Okay, so we're going to talk about each one of them. So some of these create physical bonds between the nail plate and the nail enhancement. And when I say physical bond, like it's not a chemical bond, all right? So newer types create a chemical bond nowadays. You've got chemical bonds, and enhances the adhesion between the tip or whatever you're using in the nail plate. Now, or the product, excuse me, not the tip, the product in the nail plate. Now, let's talk about acid-based primers, okay? There's a common misconception that acid primers eat or etch the nail all by themselves. Chemically etches the nail, okay? That's a misconception, misnomer, all right? They must be used with caution, okay, because they are very corrosive. It says acid for a reason. It will burn your client's skin. And what's that skin called around the nail? The lateral nail plate, lateral nail fold, and what's the other one? What's the U one? This here? The laterals are here, right? The proximal nail fold. Very good. Proximal nail fold. Okay? So these chemicals must never touch the skin. Ever, 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 ever. Okay? It will burn them. And I see people doing this all the time. They put their dehydrator on and then they just slap the primer on and it's just wet and it's just running everywhere. Too much primer can cause lifting, but it can also burn your client's skin. So you'll see when, if you've ever watched me work, I do my dehydrator, and you can get that on the skin. It's really not a big deal. It's like a alcohol, right? But a very, very high concentrated alcohol almost. That's not technically what it is, but it's not going to hurt the client's skin. But that primer, you'll see me come out of the bottle and dab it on a paper towel and then proceed to put it on like 5 nails, because you really don't want to even get close to the skin. You just it will spread where it needs to go. Be very careful with it, okay? So it also has to be kept in darker bottles like this. You'll see primer usually in an amber bottle, okay? It won't usually be in a clear bottle. And also most of these acid ones, now my primer is a non-acid primer, okay? But the acid ones usually are kept in these child-resistant locked type bottles because it can be very dangerous if anybody gets their hands on it. Now, you should wear gloves and safety goggles when you're using it. You see where I'm coming from here? This is a very corrosive product. It can burn the nail bed tissue if the nail plate is very thin. So you got to be careful with it, even applying it to the nail plate if you've got a client whose skin is exposed or nail bed is exposed. Hopefully you don't have that problem. Hopefully you're not the one that caused it anyway. So you want to use it very sparingly, okay? Very sparingly. Now, if you find that you need 2 coats of it, or you think you need 2 coats of it to help make the nail stick, then it's probably not the primer that's the problem. It's probably you, okay? You don't need 2 coats of primer. It shouldn't be necessary, all right? Now, non-acid or acid-free primers, okay, are not as corrosive to the skin as the acid primer, okay? So, the difference between the two is that between acid and non-acid or acid-free is that they do not contain an acid called methacrylic acid. Okay, that's the only difference. Now, me personally, I love a good acid primer. I'm old school. I like a good acid primer, but they all do the same thing. And if you find that you're a newer nail tech and you're still kind of accidentally getting stuff on people's skin, you want to stay away from these acid primers, okay? Just stick with the non-acid. Now, they may not contain that methacrylic acid, but they do contain other types of acidic substances. So again, the word non-acid is kind of a little misleading there, but again, it doesn't contain the very, very strong acid that is in acid primers, okay? Now, acid-free primers contain no acid. Y'all remember the pH scale? pH scale, it was like 0 in the middle, and then it was like negative pH, and then positive pH. Positive, the highest thing on the acid pH would be like something that you threw acid in someone's face would like melt them, right? And then you had the 0 pH level, and then anything below that was considered like water has like a -7 pH. You can drink it, right? So everything has a pH scale. As far as the scale of non-acid or acid-free, it's on the 0 level of the pH scale. So there's no acid in it at all. But again, remember, these are all chemicals, and all of them are meant to be nowhere near the skin, okay? So do not apply it to the skin. Try your best not to get it on the skin, no matter what type of primer you're using, okay? Yes, dear.
So, since essentially you said they kind of all work the same, in what scenario would you like choose one of them? Basically?
I think it's just preferential. If you're using a certain type of, let's just say you started using mine and you don't have no problems with lifting, why in the hell would you change?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, let me just try non-acid, just to see, or 0 acid, acid-free, just to see if anything. I mean, you can try it, but I mean, it's just preferential. And then if you're using a certain system, they may have their own primer. Use the primer. If you bought a Gel X system and they have their own primer, use their primer. Unless you're having lifting issues with it, you may want to try another primer or something. But again, most product breakdown is because of the nail tech. There's something that you're not doing or doing too much of. All right. So again, that's all about prep and things of that nature in your application. Okay. Now, prolonged exposure to any chemical can cause you to become allergic to it. You can create your own allergies, y'all, when it comes to chemicals. If you stick your hands in, a certain chemicals over and over and over and over again, you're going to end up creating an allergy for yourself. And I am a perfect example of said person. Okay, for years, I didn't wear gloves. I would get monomer all over my hands. I touched gel polish with my bare hands. All of that stuff, now I have a severe allergy to all of the products that I use. I can't touch them. If I touch them with my bare hands, I'm going to suffer for the next 7 to 10 business days. Okay? And I can show y'all where I'm healing on my leg. I was doing nails every day this past week. I did a set of nails. And I had on gloves, but I scratched my leg, and then I ended up breaking out really badly because I had some gel on my legs. Gel on my gloves, and it got on my skin. So I have created an allergy for myself, contact dermatitis. I am now severely allergic. So you don't want to, if I had to work in a nail salon all day, every day, Monday through Friday or Tuesday through Saturday, I would be a mess. I'd be swollen, my eyes and my hands would be red and itchy all the time. I wouldn't be able to do it. So, I'm lucky that I have another form of income.
How do you do your nails if you're allergic to gel?
You do not put the gel on your skin at all. Okay, your nail plate is not, does not have the attributes of your skin. It's not absorbing anything. It's not taking in, and now if it got down to my nail, if I had really thin nail plates, and it got to my nail bed, yeah, I probably would have an allergic reaction. Probably lose my fingernails, and that happens too, right? Onycholiasis can happen from, remember, separation of the nail plate and the nail bed can happen from, or onychomatosis can happen from some type of allergic reaction. Nail plate completely falls off. Okay, so it can happen. So you want to be very careful when touching these things. I told a story yesterday. I'm going to tell it to y'all. If you've been following me for a long time, then you know the ding-a-ling story. Okay? I got sent, because you guys always want to see me crash out on the internet. I think y'all love to see Miss Mary crash out on the internet. But I was on TikTok one day, and one of my students sent me a live. She was like, man, Miss Mary, watch this girl do nails. And I was like, oh, I'm thinking, non-controversial, nothing like that. Soon as I open up the live, she's got her bare hands, and she's doing Frenchies, right? She's like doing gel polish with the Frenchies. And she takes both of her fingers when she's done and runs it up the nail like this to clean off the sides of the nail with her bare fingers, I guess, because the polish had seeped over. And she was just like, and I'm like, no, don't do that, Of course, so I text, and I just was like, so the nails are beautiful. I'm trying to be nice, but you won't be doing them for long. You keep touching that gel, girl. So I don't know who this girl was. I still can't remember her name to this day. She knew me though. And I don't know what happened. Her I guess she was like Beyonce or something, that her beehive came after me, girl. They was like, what you old lady think what you know, what everything you think you know, what you leave her alone and blah blah. I'm like, what? So they was coming after me. So you know me, I'm never one to back down from a fight. I'm like, yeah, and blah, 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 and blah, I'm going back and forth with her. And I was like, listen, I'm not no slouch when it comes to this nail game. What y'all think, I got School of Nails on my name because I just want that name? Right. Like, this is legit nail school. I've been doing nails for 35 years, okay? I'm teaching it now for going on 10. So it's like, you think I'm just saying this just to say, you know what? Do your thing, girl. So, of course, I got off the live and started my own live.
There you go.
And I was like, cause she started talking shit. She was like, yeah, I follow her. I don't know why she's being so mean to me. And I'm like, girl, are you even reading the messages? I'm not being mean to you. I'm trying to help you. But then all her people came after me, and I guess they thought sometimes I look at the live and I'll see one comment and not really see everything, and then I'm like, what you mean? And then if you go back, it's like, oh, they wasn't really saying nothing, So I tried not to really pay attention to the comments. But that day I started my own live, and of course everybody because all publicity is good publicity, even if all of her people wanted to come over and watch my live, right? So I'm over here talking on my live trying to explain why I said what I said and why that girl was going to end up with contact dermatitis or something at some point and not be able to do nails. Only 10 years into her career, she keeps on doing that. Even I wasn't doing that back in the day. All right, just rubbing the side with my bare fingers. So long story short, I at the time was selling, I still sell them, individual classes on individual subjects. Every time I do a live, I record these and I put them and I sell them for like $10. That day, I made $1,000 off of that heifer. All you could hear was ding, ling, ling, ding, ling, ling. On my phone, my Shopify was going ding, ding, ling. I'm like, yeah, I got nail products too. I got gel, all that stuff there. Ding, ling, ling, ding. Oh, I thought y'all came over here to jump on me. Now y'all was over there jumping on me. Now y'all over here buying my products. Oh, okay, because I'm just married Negron School of Nails in theory, not in real life. But I say that to say, don't be that person. Okay, don't be that person that is just, and then it's awful to me because I got to spend most of my days unteaching you guys bad habits. Okay, so moving right along, we don't want contact dermatitis, y'all. It's awful. It's awful. Okay, now let's talk about the chemistry behind the adhesion of nail products. Okay, first of all, good adhesion is going to depend on proper technique and high quality products. Okay? Can you buy my online classes? You absolutely can. You better click that link in the bio, it'll take you right on over there. You can see what my students are seeing, what I'm live on YouTube doing. So number 1, washing your hands and scrubbing the nail plates before you begin the surface with one of these. Clean one. Get up under there. Go over there with your client and show her how to do it, because a lot of y'all don't know how to wash your hands. It's just unfortunate. Trust me. And I was one of them. All right. So using that nail brush is going to remove surface oils and contaminants that interfere with proper adhesion. And scrubbing also gets rid of bacteria and fungi that causes nail infections on your fingernails, okay? So skipping this step is a major contributor to finger infections and lifting of the product. So if you're skipping that step, the first thing, like I said, 9 times out of 10, these people pay me money. They're $60 an hour for me to troubleshoot what they're doing. I'm like, I can tell you what you did right now. You just sat that client down. You didn't wash her hands. You didn't wash your hands. That's a major contributor to product lifting, okay?
We don't need to scrub our hands, right?
I would. You just been touching somebody else's hands before them? Yeah, wash your hands. Nasty. Yeah. Wash your hands between every client. Your hands should be washed more times than anybody's, okay? Between every client, wash those hands, all right? And their hands as well. Now, a dehydrator, because we talked about primers, right? What is a dehydrator? Because we said that primers help with adhesion, right? If something is dehydrated, that means it lacks what? Moisture, water, right? So using a dehydrator temporarily removes the surface moisture, okay? Now it's not going, if you don't wash the hands, you're not going to get rid of a lot of oil, because you got to think, even alcohol and oil don't mix, right? So if you don't get that oil off the nail plate, the dehydrator ain't going to save you, okay? But it will temporarily remove surface moisture. After you wash the client's hands, they got a little bit of moisture on their fingers. You would never want to not use a dehydrator, especially on clients that have just washed their hands and then apply the product. You might end up with a greenie, which is moisture trapped under the nail, all right? So I never skip the dehydrator. Some people are like, just cleanse it. No, dehydrate it, okay? Get rid of all the moisture you can. Now, here's the thing though. It only lasts for 30 minutes, okay? So if you are a nail tech, and that's a maximum 30 minutes. If you are a nail tech who is new and you are still taking an hour to do one hand and an hour to do the other hand, well, if you prepped and primed both hands, by the time you get to this one, guess what? If it took you an hour to do this one, you got to reapply. So a little tip for you guys, you'll see even when I do nails, I prep and prime prep the nail, push the cuticles and do all that stuff on both hands. But when it comes to the dehydrator and the primer, I do one hand at a time, because they're not gonna have, you know what they're gonna be doing with this hand while you're doing this hand? Okay, so just don't save yourself the trouble, okay? And then when you're done with this hand, dehydrate and prime this hand. And so a lot of times you guys will have issues with, why is my right hand popping off and my left hand is still good? Because your primer and your dehydrator and all of that stuff went null and void after 30 minutes. It took you an hour, 45 minutes or so to do this hand. And the other hand didn't get the same treatment that this one did. Make sense? Okay, so that's another thing you may want to troubleshoot with, all right? Now, avoid overfiling at all costs. And I know this is something that you think is helping with adhesion, right? You're like, well, you know, when they get ready to paint a car, you know, they sand it down. They take those sanders and they grind it down and do all that. Yeah, but they're not sanding it to the point where there's lumps and humps and bumps on the nail, are they? They're using a fine sander, something to just smooth out the paint. If there's old paint there, you know, nothing too heavy and abrasive to where there's lumps and chunks in the paint job. So even with nails, so it's a myth that nail enhancements and tips are only going to stick unless you rough up the nail. And when I say rough up, you know what I'm talking about. When they take that sanding band and they go over your nail and you look at it and it's like literally you can see pieces of your nail plate sticking up. That is not necessary, okay? All you really need to do is remove the shine with a very fine buffer, like 180 grit buffer, okay? Remove the shine. Now, Avoid using those heavy grit abrasives, like even 100 grit on the natural nail is way too abrasive. Way too abrasive. All right? And improper use of an electric file, when you're using it, you shouldn't be using an e-file with a sanding band on your client's natural nail. Okay? Think about it. How, because we haven't gotten to the e-file chapter, we will. When we get to the e-file chapter, think about, you know, those numbers on your file mean something. 1, 5, 10, 20, 35K, right? What do those numbers mean? How fast that little e-file bit is spinning in a minute. And when we are on level 1, which is the lowest that an e-file can go, it's spinning 1,000 times per minute. I challenge you to take a hand file and file on a nail 1,000 times in a minute and see what happens to it. Okay? So, it's not necessary. You're destroying your client's nails. Deidre, you said you wanted to focus on natural nail health when you leave here. I promise you, if you really want to focus on natural nail health, you shouldn't even probably have an e-file in your building. Just saying, until you are properly trained on how to use it. Now you can, but a lot of you guys, all of y'all own an e-file, don't you? Every last one of you. Y'all don't know what you doing. Just be all filing the hell out of your little nails. Yeah. You just drilling and filing and just reverse forward. I don't know which one I should be using. I'm just using it because I seen it on TikTok. Y'all got to have proper training on these things. You're going to destroy your natural nails. Okay, or not only yours, but the clients, okay? And we always blame, the acrylic. It was the gel that did it. No, it wasn't. It was you. Okay, so thinner nail plates create weaker foundations, okay? And listen, you don't want to build a skyscraper on mud. Something that's, not a good foundation. So, and it's always the clients that want extendos that got this much nail plate and there's no nail bed left because they done filed the hell out of it, okay? It doesn't work like that, okay? So we need to have a good foundation in order for our products to adhere properly, all right? Now, excessive roughing up of the nail plate can cause a couple of things. It's going to cause you to have nail separation from the nail plate and the nail bed. What was that called again? Onycholysis, right? It can also cause clients to be more susceptible to infections, funguses, and things like that. And also product breakdown and lifting, breaking, and the free edge chipping. Like if you're doing natural nails and you filed the nail so thin, the nail is now flexible. So every time it flexes, it wants to separate from the polish, doesn't it? So, you got to have a nice foundation to work with. Try not to overfile. Yes, darling.
I have a question. So, like, I do my natural nails, and I just put, like, builder gel or something on top of it. But sometimes a couple of days after, the whole back of my nail will be peeling off, like, from it.
Okay.
But I do all the whole stuff.
So, here's something, and I plan to, when we get to the gel chapter, be very specific about this, okay? Not all gels are built the same, okay? Some are flexible, some are not. And when it comes to builder gels, some are flexible, some are not. When you have your natural nails, if you're just overlaying them, you want the gel to be a little flexible. You don't want it to be a hard gel. And some builder gels are a hard gel. Look at your product, make sure you're using the proper hard gel is for extensions. Overlays, it needs to be flexible because your natural nails bend, right? So if your natural nails are bending, or even when you're having your hands in water, your natural nail expands and it retracts, and then it expands and then it retracts. If you don't have something that's flexible on that nail, it's going to eventually separate from the product.
Say that on the bottle?
It should say hard gel, or it should say so. If it's soak offable, 9 times out of 10, it is a soft gel. Okay? If hard gels, can you soak that off? what you have on your nails, or is it something you got to file off? Do you know? She don't even know.
Like,
She like, I just put it on there. It
No,
was pretty.
I usually just like keep it on
Mhm.
and just take the color off and then like put some at the
But
bottom.
you've never soaked it
I
off.
have.
It comes off with
Yeah.
soaking. Okay.
But I have to like, I put it in there and then I file it off and then put it back in there.
Right. I'd have to look at it, but again, you just make sure you're not using a hard gel
It's
on
that
your
one
natural
that
nail.
starts with a M.
Model one.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh.
You lost me at Amazon. You can't buy professional products on Amazon.
Matte
Gel
is
polish is
good.
one thing, but professional products, when it comes to like extend gels and things like that, I'm very scared of using stuff like I can you might can get away with polish, okay? Because polish is whatever, but I don't really fool with all those brands when it comes to like acrylic or gel builder gels and stuff like that. I try to stick to the stuff that I know works. So.
I like Cocoa. It's nail thoughts. I like the builder in the bottles. Those are really good. It's very soft gel, so it's very bendable.
Maybe I need to change.
You can always test your gel. So put it on like a something and cure it, and then try to bend it.
Okay.
If it bends like really well and doesn't break, it's a flexible. It's more of a soft gel. That's better for natural nails. If you put it on a little piece of clear, whatever, like a back, maybe the back of a form or something, with the sticky part of the form, when you peel the sticker off, what's left, put it on there, and you cure it, take it out, and then you do like this, and it snaps. Hard gel.
Yeah, that's what that is. Because if I hit it on something, it'll be like a fresh crack.
It's hard gel. That's why hard gel shouldn't go on natural nails. Not as an overlay.
Okay.
Hard gel is meant for extensions because you need it to be hard and strong for length. But if it's your natural nail, it should be more flexible. Okay. Yeah. See, you learn new stuff every day. Okay. Now, here's something that you guys probably did not know, and you hear it or probably say it all the time, right? For instance, I'm going to take my nails off for a little while, let my nails breathe.
That's a good one.
My mom says that.
Because my nails be like sucking up all the air. Right? So nail enhancements are not designed to be taken off frequently. Okay? They are meant to be on till you take them off. Okay? You don't have to take them off and I know a lot of nail techs, especially the newer ones, they don't even do fill-ins. You ever seen that before? And let me tell you why they don't do fill-ins. Because they don't know how.
Wow.
Doing a fill-in, you guys, if you are doing fill-ins and you're charging less for your fill-ins, because you see it, right? A full set is, I'm going way back in the day now. A full set is $25 and a fill-in is $15. Why? No, it is. It's more work. It's 9 times out of 10 they got 2 broke ones, and you got to fix that too, right? So I always charge the same amount for my fill-ins than I did for my full set. I would much rather do a full set any day than a fill-in, because especially if they've had their nails on for a while, the nail starts to hook over, curves, and then you got to rebalance it. So a rebalance is different than a fill-in. A rebalance is extra work because you got to chop that curve out and then build the nail up and make it back straight again. I mean, if that's what the client wants. So I'd rather soak it off and start fresh than do that, right? But I mean, a lot of times it doesn't make sense because you just put the set on 3 sets ago. So, they're actually not designed to be removed at all. I mean, if you can wear them as long as you can, as long as it's properly applied and it's doesn't have any lifting or chipping or anything, you don't have to take them off people are like, oh, how often do you do it? Every 3 to 4 sets. It depends on the client. It depends on the product. Gel is superior to acrylic, hands down. Acrylic absorbs water, moisture, smells, right? If I can tell, I can smell it as soon as I go to filing on your nails, right? Because acrylic absorbs all that. Think about why do we have to repave roads all the time? They get old, right? The water from the rain soaks down in there, then it dries, and then the water soaks in there again, and it dries, and it gets crumbly and crackly, and then you get the cracks in the road, and you got to get them repaid. That's what acrylic does because it's porous. Gel is not porous. It is like glass. It will not absorb anything. It's so much different, and you could literally just wear it forever. You never have to take it off. Well, you have to file it off anyway if it's hard gel, right? So just keep that in mind. So when clients say, yeah, I'm gonna let my nails breathe, I just chuckle a little bit, dummy. Where them lungs of your nails at? Where the lungs at? They don't need to. Your nails do not need to breathe. Okay, they do not. They need to be properly maintained. Okay, everybody got that? Just a little myth, just to kind of clear that air real quick. All right. Now let's talk about nail coatings and products in terms of their physical or chemical reaction. Okay, because there's different reactions that happen here. So nail coating products. One of the most important things that we do as nail techs, right, is apply a coating on the nail. Unless you're doing, even when you're doing natural nails, what type of coating do you apply to the nails if you're not using gel? A base coat is a coating, a top coat is a coating, right? Polish is a coating. Now, coatings are products that cover the entire nail plate and create a hardened film, okay? Examples of this, again, is top coats. Even nail enhancements are a coating. Acrylic is a coating, right? Gel, even if you're extending it, is a coating. Now, there's two main types of coatings. The types that cure or polymerize, okay? And this is a chemical reaction. And those types of products are going to be your acrylic or your gel. They have to go in a light, or when you pick up the monomer, the bead, and the monomer and the powder and create a bead, it eventually gets hard. This is a chemical reaction, okay? Now, coatings that harden by evaporation, this is a physical reaction, not chemical. These are going to be things that air dry, right? Nail polish, base coat, top coat on regular lacquer, okay, that we do on like our manicures and stuff, right? So, with that being said, let's talk about what polymerization actually is. What is happening when you pick up that monomer with your brush and then you dip it into the powder? What is happening? What is causing it to do what it do? Because chemistry, as much as I hated chemistry when I was in college, it's the only reason I didn't become a nurse. It's because I couldn't pass it. And the only reason I couldn't pass it because it had way too much math. Oh, God. But I loved chemistry on the other side of it, where the math wasn't involved. Like, I don't want to do no equation. Let's talk about this, carbon and all this stuff, and these molecules and how these things work, right? I don't want to do no math. I couldn't pass it. Y'all would be glad I didn't. But when we talk about monomers and polymers, which one is the monomer and which one is the polymer? The liquid and powder. Which one is the monomer? The liquid, okay. And the powder is the polymer, okay? We got that out of the way. All right. So, monomers and polymers are durable and long-lasting coatings that or nail enhancements, and they're all created by chemical reactions, okay? Now, all monomer liquid and all polymer powder nail enhancements, UV gels, wraps, all of these adhesives are examples of chemical reactions. They all create some type of chemical reaction, all right? Now, the molecules in these products join to create extremely long chains, with each chain containing millions of molecules. So a polymer will attach to the monomer, and it just creates a really long. Y'all remember that game on the little phone, the snake game? Remember that, where you would eat a little dot and then your chain would get longer and longer and longer? That is what's happening here. When the monomer, you pick it up, put it on the brush, and then you go over there to the polymer and make a bead, instantaneously you get these chains start to form. And remember when you played the game, the longer your chain got, you didn't really have room to move. You had to make like moves so that you didn't accidentally eat your own tail, right? So think about that for a second before we get there. I want to just make sure you understand where I'm going with this. So polymers, or the powder, is gigantic chains of molecules. You can actually see the powder, right? You can see the powder because it's like little, it looks like little grains of salt or whatever the case may be. So keep this in mind. Polymers can sometimes be liquid, but they're usually solid, okay? And polymerization, which is a word you will hear me use all the time, is a term that where chemicals, it's a chemical reaction that creates polymers. So let me give y'all a little visual here. So let's just say I'm filing an acrylic nail. I file it all the way with a very fine e-file or whatever, a sanded file or something. I'm just filing it off until I have a pile of dust on this table. Do you know I can take that dust and put some monomer on it and make another nail out of it? I mean, yes, you can. You absolutely can. So the liquid, it combines with the powder, creates the hard polymer, right? This hard product, and you can file it off. And don't do that. I mean, go buy some new powder. Don't be that cheap. But I'm saying you could, in essence, recreate a nail with that same dust, okay? That's on that table. Now, polymerization is also, you could use the word cure. You could use the word curing or hardening. It's the same process. When something polymerizes, it starts from a liquid and it goes through this phase until it becomes hard. Now, there's different types of polymers out there, right? You got like Teflon, nylon, your hair is a polymer, your wood is a polymer, proteins are a polymer. Nail plates are made up of many proteins, including keratin. Remember, we talked about keratin. And so nail plates and hair are made from polymers, and that's why they can all work together. These things would not stick to our nail if they did not have some type of chemical makeup that was similar, okay? So the monomers are individual molecules, and then they end up joining the polymer to make this chain, all right? So again, think about that snake that I talked about, because it's going to make sense in a second. Now, in order for you to understand the process of polymerization, like I said, I got to make a little visual for you, okay, which was that snake, right? Each chain joining together. So each type of nail product that we use is made from a different but very similar, in the same family, related monomer, from gels to glues to acrylic powders to Gel X, all that stuff. They're all part of the acrylate family. Acrylics, acrylates, they're all related, okay? Distant cousins, but they're related, okay? So there's special ingredients inside of these products that called initiators, and they trigger the process of polymerization in the monomers and the polymers, okay? So what those initiators are called, girl, I don't know, probably some long scientific name, but these particular ingredients are what helps the process start. So if something initiates, you initiated your divorce. That means you're the one who started it, right? Initiators, okay? They start the process, trigger the process. Now, what happens during polymerization is the initiator molecules carry that extra energy and gives the monomer that same energy. So it's carrying energy and giving it to the monomer, right? The initiator is like, all right, we're about to start this process. Here you go, wake up. It's like giving you coffee. Let's go, okay? Need you to use this energy so that we can get hard, okay? Now, the monomer attaches to another monomer and passes that energy along. Now, remember, when we think energy, what comes with energy? What are you gonna feel when you get energized? Don't you start to get a little hot?
Yeah.
Woo! Have you ever felt a heat spike on your nail? Even with
Yes.
gel or even with acrylic, sometimes you feel that energy, that heat that comes through. Like, what the hell is happening? Have you ever wondered? Have you ever wondered?
Isn't it like, I think I looked it up one time. It's like when the molecules are like,
They
it feels
super
like they're,
excited.
like, running around, so
They
it's, like,
super
kinda hard
excited.
up.
Super excited. Yeah, because there's so many of them. They all came together. They like in a big old group. Okay? So, the second monomer chain does the same as the first and passes, they attach and they get bigger and bigger and bigger and longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. And then that reaction starts to happen, right? You get some, think about it. It's like, okay, I say, all right, girls, we're going to meet at, we going to Icons this weekend. Y'all be there at 10. Well, you know, y'all going to be late. So when we first get in there, the AC is cool. It ain't too hot in there. It's just a couple of us doing the fan dance. Plop, flop, flop, flop. Then all of a sudden, y'all done all late, come in all at the same time. Next thing you know, the club is so packed. And everybody flopping them fans. It's hot in there. We need the fans now, right? Because it's too many of us in there. And that's exactly what happens on your nail. At some point, the chains get so long and there's so many and it's so packed that it gets to where it can't move anymore. And if you look at what happens when you pick up a bead, that's exactly what happens. You first pick it up, it's moving. You can move it around. You can pat, 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 move, move, move. But it's a time limit on that, isn't it? You don't have much time. You got to move fast because eventually those monomer chains are going to get so tightly compact that they can't move anymore. And that's when you have created a full cure, and that's known as polymerization. Okay? Does that make sense?
So when you do have a heat spike, like the client puts their hands in there and they have that, most of the time they're going to take it out. Is that okay?
No, it's not okay for you to put it in there to begin with. The reason why they're having a heat spike is because of you. You put too much product on there, or you introduce the light way too quickly, right? So again, when we get to the gel chapter, all of that will make sense, but there are ways to prevent heat spikes. Heat spikes are not just a figment of your imagination, right? You feel it, and there's a reason you feel it, because you're creating somewhat of the first degree burn on your client's nail plate. It subsides, but you're literally putting like 180 degrees or 180 degrees of temperature on their nail plate for a split second. And a lot of times, you know, you're like, just breathe through it. Like, what we doing, having a baby over here? That's not okay, right? So it's not normal. I mean, it's normal because you put too much product, or again, think about it. Remember when you was a kid and your mama would wake you up in the morning and she would just flip on the lights? And what did you do? Turn the light off. Like, it was jarring to you, right? So wouldn't it be great, which I even have, because, you know, I have a smart house. I need a smart house, okay? Because I go places and I'm like, oh, this is so ghetto. I got to turn off the light switch before I lay down. This is ghetto. But I got a smart house, so I set my lights every morning. They gradually start to come on, so that when I wake up, I don't feel like my eyes being burned out by the light, right? So it's the same with nails, with acrylic, with gel. When you get ready to put it in that light, if you've got a thick amount of product on there, and sometimes this happens with a base coat. There are lamps, mine included, that has a low temperature mode. Have you seen that before? So the low temperature mode, you turn that on, and guess what it does? It does what I do with my bedroom lights every morning. It starts low, and then it will gradually turn up the heat, basically, okay? And you won't feel that heat spike. Now, if you don't have a fancy lamp like that, you can do the opposite, do something of this, again, a little bit more ghetto, but you just turn the light all the way on, and you put the client's hand outside of the lamp, and you gradually go in, gradually introduce that light to the client's nails, and it will prevent heat spikes. But we don't want to give our clients heat spikes. It is a 180 to 200 degree burn on the nail plate. And here, what I don't want to hear y'all saying is, I'll just spray a little alcohol on it. Shh, that is not going to stop the burn. Okay, that is a misnomer. That is not true.
Okay.
And I was at the nail show this past, and it was a lady teaching the class, and she said it. I said, I got to go.
That's when you left.
That's when I left. She said, yeah. And I was like, you got a room full of brand new nail techs in here asking you questions, and you just loud and wrong. Tattoos all over her face, loud and wrong. I shouldn't have went in there to begin with. I can't trust a bitch with a teardrop tattoo on their face. I'm sorry, I can't. I never trust a hoe with a teardrop tattoo on their face. Sorry, not even to teach me nails. Sorry, I got tattoos on my neck, but I ain't got no teardrops on my face. You know what that means, don't you? I can't do it. Can't do it. When she said that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm out of here. I got some work to do. Unteaching this. You do not spray alcohol on it. It's not going to help. Okay? But again, we'll get to gel because I see some of y'all are definitely using it. Okay? Now, these terms, you need to know these terms. Initiators, okay? Oh, here's something else you may want to know, just real quick. It takes several days before these chains reach ultimate lengths. So it could take up to 48 hours for your acrylics to completely cure. To the point your acrylics will be harder 2 days later than they are when they leave the salon. Much harder.
When I used to get my nails done at the shop was years ago, and I would get acrylics. The next day, my fingers would be so sore.
Like they felt tight, didn't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, your tips were probably too small, because that's a bad thing too. Because when you like, it's just like wearing too tiny shoes. Your feet gonna suffer, aren't they? And then what happens to your nail when you put on a tip that's too small? It's gonna make it pop up from the nail bed, and it will be painful. Okay. I remember those days when I would run out of a tip, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna make it fit, Craig. Make it fit. Yeah, that's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Okay. So, now initiators get that extra energy, pass it from either heat or they pass the energy either through heat or through a light, right? So acrylic is going to do it through heat. You're going to feel that heat. And then gel is going to, the initiator is going to be the lamp. When you put your hand in the lamp, that's when the process starts, okay? Now, so that's considered, the one with the heat is a thermal initiator, okay? Heat from the room, heat from the hand, can cause your products to cure faster. Yesterday we had a client come in, and bless their heart, because when I usually come in on Thursday night and turn on the AC, because you know we're not in here the rest of the week. I'm not about to be ACing the gnats. So I turn off, when we leave here on Saturday, we turn off the AC, and we don't come back, and we come back on Thursday evening, and I turn it on so that it'll be cool in here in the morning, because you know this little AC is so hot it can barely keep up. So I didn't do that this Thursday night. I forgot. So I came in here on Friday morning, yesterday morning. It was 94 degrees inside of this building. Turned on the AC full blast. It never got under 82 in here because it just couldn't. It was so, you know, it's so hot outside. It just could not keep up. So they were doing acrylics yesterday on a client, and ooh, I felt so bad for them because it was like, this mirror is curing so fast. I don't know why. So I pick up the bead, and it's like, like you got to move faster. You got to move faster. And they were like, why? I said, you don't remember why? Y'all got beads of sweat dripping off your brow. Well, they was nervous. That's why. But I felt a little drop of sweat fall down my butt crack yesterday. I was like, oh, I had to bring out my fan. Look, and if you were on my live last night, you heard the fan. This is my little neck fan. It's kind of loud. It just hang right here and blow right in my face. I wear it when I go riding on my bike too. It clips to my back and it keep my ass from sweating. But anyway, the heat from the room was making the acrylic cure much faster than they were used to. Okay, so when you're working with acrylic, your room needs to be anywhere from 75, 73, 75 degrees for it to cure the way it should. If you're in a hot environment, you're gonna have to maybe even try to get you some slower setting monomer. Have y'all ever wondered why they have fast set, slow set monomers? That's why. Some people live in climates where it's hot. 80 degrees to them is cool. And they're in a room where it's 80 degrees and that monomer is setting super fast, so they may get a slow setting monomer to help them be able to work better with their product. Young nails is notorious for having a fast set. They got a speed acrylic. Speed acrylic, it cures very fast. It is a professional product though. So the more professional you become and the more experienced you become, you may want a faster setting monomer so that you can get done with your work and not have to be chasing that bead around. All right. Now, photo initiators, that's when you start talking about UV gel or LED gel. Photo, what do you need in order to create a decent photo? Can't be in the dark, can you? You got to have a flash, or you've got to have some type of lighting, right? So a photo initiator is the process will begin or initiate when it is exposed to the UV, okay, or LED lamp to cure the product.
I know we was talking about in the heat, like being hot, but what if like you have a client that always cold?
Ooh, it might take longer for the product to cure on their hands because their hands are cold. That happens.
Yeah.
Or their hands are really, really hot. And when you lay that bead down to lay the bead on the tip, it seems like it doesn't cure as fast, and then you lay it on the back of the nail over in the cuticle area, and boom, it's cured. It's like the heat from their nails just really makes it cure faster. So you got to be careful with that when you're like sculpting and you're trying to like pinch C curves. You got to know your product. Timing is everything, because you can't pinch the C curve until it's ready, or you'll put dents in the nail. All right, when we get to sculpting, you'll see what I mean with that. Now, this word catalyst, what does that mean?
Like something that triggers.
Well, the initiator triggers it. So a catalyst is a little bit different. A catalyst speeds up the process, okay? So again, you might have a powder that's a speed powder. It's going to have certain chemicals in it that's going to help that product cure faster, okay? So a catalyst speeds up the chemical reaction, and it makes those initiators work faster and more efficiently to help make the curing process, again, faster. So these are found in every product. However, some products may have more of a catalyst in it than others, okay? Now, this oligomer, this is an important one. Again, I told you, I was saying y'all earlier, you're not going to go around using these words, oh, that oligomer looks really good on you. Okay, but what is an oligomer? An oligomer is a short chain of monomers, okay? So, remember, we said all of these products are similar. They're made out of the same thing, right? So you got liquids, and then you got solids. Well, what do you have in between? What's an example of something like water is a liquid, right? Let's just say salt is a solid. What is in between those two things? If it's not liquid, or ice is a solid, let's say it's not liquid, it's not ice, it's not hard, what is it in between?
Nice.
What happens when I'm making a cake, right? Jello's a good one though. If I'm making a cake and I got my powder ingredients and I got my milk, what happens when I mix it all together, when I get a batter? What does it look like? It's just, it's not a solid, but it's not quite a liquid, right? So think of what the gel as being right in between. It is a short chain of monomers, remember? So think about when you pick up a bead, right? You first pick it up, and it can drip, it can move. It's kind of like that, what you mixed in the kitchen, right? I feel like that song, remember the Migos song, right? So gel is actually monomer and polymer powder mixed together, but it never got to the long chain phase to where it got hard and cured. It's stuck in the middle. But it's got a chemical in it that keeps it in that phase until it hits UV light, and then it will the chains will start to connect and get hard. Okay, so they have photo initiators in it to make the process happen. All right, so does that make sense? Gel is just stuck in the middle of the process of polymerization. It can't go no further until you Put it under the light, okay? So, and those ingredients, again, are certain chemical names that I won't even try to say, okay? Now, cross-linking. This is important for you to know as well, all right? Again, for state board purposes. You can forget this after you are done. Simple chains, or excuse me, simple versus cross-linking polymer chains, okay? Simple chains versus cross-linking chains. It's going to make sense in a second. So simple polymer chains are a long chain of monomers attached from head to tail, okay? So think of a simple chain as like a chain link fence. You know, a chain link fence, you can usually stick your feet in it and climb over it because the holes are big enough for you to do so, okay? Now, things that are made up of simple chains are like glue, acrylic powder, monomer, liquid and powder enhancements made from acrylic. It could also be regular polish, all right? These are simple chains, and the reason why they are considered simple chains is because they can be easily unraveled. The chains can be easily broken. And how do we break those chains? Anybody know? There's several ways that these can be easily broken.
Use a substance or something.
Right, like? We can break the chains and dissolve acrylic or dissolve regular polish with acetone, right? We can break the chain very easily because the chains are big. The molecules of acetone are smaller than the holes in the chain, and the molecule can slide right through it, therefore dissolving it. It can make it, you know, it can pass through. It can pass through the little hole. Now, other things that can pass through, because remember, that's basically, like I said, acrylic is porous, right? It can absorb. So what else can it absorb? It can absorb dyes, stains, inks, anything that gets on your nail, it can absorb it, right? To include acetone, so that way it breaks it down. Now, a cross-linking polymer chain, this is going to be a little bit different of a chain. Think of like one of those, you know how knights back in the old days, they wore that chain mail as like armor. It was like really tiny chains, and the reason why they wore that was supposed to be where knives and swords couldn't pass through it, right? Because it was, the chains were so tight. So given that I have given you the example of a simple chain, what would you think is a cross-linking or a more complex chain product? Hard gel, absolutely. Hard gel. Nothing can penetrate it, okay? Not acrylic, that's a simple. That one, it can be, that one can, if it can be dissolved with acetone, it's a simple polygel. Yep, polygel. It's because everybody says there's a soak off polygel. I have not been yet to find it, and they're like, it soaks off. I'm like, prove it. Okay, and again, I just haven't run across one yet. Now, so that's what you need to know about those cross-linking chains versus simple chains. Okay, because again, you may see that on your state board. So they create a net-like chain, and the molecules of the acetone are way too big to fit through the chain to dissolve it, okay? They are more resistant to staining, more resistant to solvents, including water and acetone. So gel nails will literally last forever if you don't break them, or, you know, they won't absorb any water. And I'm gonna just tell you, the gel that anytime I've ever worn gel nails, they stayed until I filed them off. If your prep is good, okay? Now, here's the controversial subject, okay? So, all nail enhancements and adhesive are based on that family, that chemical family of these ingredients called acrylates, okay? There are three main types used in the nail, nail enhancement, okay? Number one being methacrylates, okay? These are used to make all monomer, liquid and powder, acrylic sets, and also at least one type of UV gel, and that's going to be your soft gel, okay? Now, acrylates alone is the type of acrylic that all other UV gels are based on. For instance, your hard gels and things like that, okay? Cyanoacrylates are acrylics that all nail adhesives and nail wraps and things of that, any type of glue is based on, okay? So those are all the acrylates, types of acrylates that we use in the nail industry. Now, methyl methacrylate monomer, otherwise known as MMA. Have y'all heard of this before? Anybody know anything about it?
It is illegal. That's about all I know.
Okay, anything else? Why do they use it if it's illegal?
It's cheap.
It's cheap. What else? Anybody know anything else about it? It is cheap. So MMA cures like this, okay? And when you are in a situation where you're probably illegal and don't have no license and you're trying to make as much money as you can so you can, I don't know, send it back to your country or whatever you do with it, you know, or you're working illegally, you're trying to make as much money as you can to just, you know, before you get caught. And that's what these places are like, assembly lines. They're just trying to get you in and out. They don't care if that nail looks good. They don't care, and it's very hard to remove, so it doesn't come off very easily. So these, you know, I don't like to use the term chop shop, but you know what I'm talking about. They use that stuff, again, because it's cheap. You can buy a gallon of MMA for the same price that you would get an 8-ounce bottle of monomer, EMA monomer for. Okay? Now, it's very cheap. So let's talk about it really quick. So it's a substance that has been banned in the United States and in many other countries. And it's not for the reason that you might think, okay? A lot of people think, and even I did, there is a video of me on the internet giving wrong information. Back in the day, I was loud and wrong. And you know, my favorite person in the world, Doug Schoon, called me out on it, and then I fell in love with him. So people think that it's cancerous, that it will cause you to you know, if you're breathing the fumes all day, it's going to, like, the fumes, the vapors. You're breathing the vapors of it all day long. It's going to cause you to have lung cancer. It's going to, that none of that is necessarily true. The reasons why it is banned, okay, even though some people continue to use it in salons, if you follow lovely Mimi, she will tell you, I've been using it for years. I'm going to keep using it. Keep on using it. Keep on using it. Because if I sit in your chair, I'm gonna get you. Okay? I'm going to have a state board over there. Because, you know, my middle name is Karen. Okay? Now, when properly used, okay, MMA has its uses. Okay? Like bulletproof glass. Okay? Do you need your nails to be hard as bulletproof glass? Do you need your nails to stop a bullet? What are you, Superwoman? You're like, bing, caught the bullet, right? All right, so here are the reasons why MMA should never be used on nails. And none of it is because it's cancerous, okay? Number one, it does not adhere well to the nail plate at all. It will only adhere if you destroy the nail plate. That roughing up using that sanding band that they always do on your nail. You look down at your nails and they look like little pieces of wood, like you could just like cut yourself with your nail plates. You have to do that in order for it to adhere. This is why everyone that complains about their nails after they go to these places, they're missing 10, 20 layers of their nail plate when they take them off, because it does not adhere well unless you destroy the nail plate. Number two, it creates nails that are very rigid, meaning hard and difficult to break. So when you break these nails, or when they if they don't come off all in one piece, you pray they do, you might break a finger before you break the nail. I have seen nail injuries where the entire nail got snapped because they got jammed in a door or something. The entire nail got snatched out, nail didn't break, still attached to the whole nail plate and the tendon that the nail is attached to, just hanging out. It's awful. And the nail is still intact. That is bad. If that nail would have broke, I promise you, rather than it being stuck wherever it was stuck and it got snatched or whatever, if it would have broke, she'd still have her finger nail. She'll never have another nail after that. Okay. Now, MMA is extremely difficult to remove. I have a client right now that I'm doing her nails when I leave here, that when I did her nails the first time, it took me an hour to an hour and a half to get that stuff off. And it gummed up every drill bit that I had. And when you'll know it's MMA when you soak it. And when you soak off EMA, it can sit there in the acetone, and if you just leave your fingers there, eventually it'll just melt off, fall right. You don't have to even do anything. We want to scrape it and all that stuff, but if you leave it there, it will just soak off. MMA will not. It will just absorb the acetone and get fat, and it looks like a gummy booger on your nails. And then when you go to pull it, it's stringy. That's how you'll know. It's very shiny. It'll look like plastic, hard plastic that you're trying to soak off, and it's just not going to do it. So, and again, it's just nasty to work with, very nasty to work with. So the third reason is that the FDA, y'all know who that is? The FDA says do not use it. And most state boards in cosmetology, I think all of them, cosmetology and state nail tech state boards, they all say do not use MMA. Now, there's no nail police that's going to come and arrest you if you use it, because it is for sale. And what do you think? What other use do you think is MMA is used for, and the reason why it's out there for sale? Because it's not meant for nails. Because remember, I just said it's meant to make very hard things like Teflon and not Teflon, but bulletproof glass. How about dentures? So remember, if you remember from the history chapter, we talked about our industry started in a dentist's office. The doctor had ripped a nail, a dentist, and he made dentures and teeth replacements and things of that nature. Think about it, pink and white. Right? That's what we want our teeth to be, don't we? Well, some of us. Pink and white. So that monomer that they use after they mold your teeth, or do the mold of it, and they make these teeth, that's what y'all saw these veneer techs, they were using acrylic, honey, and gel, poly gel on people's teeth, because that's what it is when you make fake teeth. But if you got to use MMA monomer, because MMA monomer is hard. It's going to make the acrylic very hard. You want your teeth to be hard, don't you? You do want to be able, you don't want them to break while you're eating something, right? If you have dentures. So, it's readily for sale, but people don't, you're not supposed to be using that on nails. You're supposed to be using it to make dentures or whatever you're using it for, right? So it is out there readily available. Like I said, there will be no nail police that's going to come get you, but Karen going to get you when she called the Better Business Bureau. She finds out she watching my live right now. She like, ooh, they using that MMA on me. I'm calling the BBB. I'm going to call the state board. And then you're going to get complaints and then things of that nature. So, again, stop using, just because it's cheap, it's just not good for your client's nails. And then you got people, like I said, like Lovely Mimi, who tell you straight up she uses it, and then she tells you she doesn't soak off nails. I know you don't, darling, because you can't. The pop-off method is the only way you can do it. Pop the nails off. Cannot soak it. It takes too long. You can. It just takes so long, okay? So, y'all do not use MMA. And how are you going to know it's MMA 9 times out of 10? Because it's going to someone's going to be selling it in a bottle that just says liquid. Liquid. Mr. Johnny's selling it all day long up there. It says liquid. Purple in a bottle that says liquid. No label, no nothing. Okay. So evaporation coatings, that's going to be your nail polish top coats and stuff like that. These do not polymerize. Okay. They dry by the air. No chemical reactions occur here. Okay. They don't contain any monomers or oligomers. All right. And they work, again, strictly by evaporation. Now, the only difference, the thing here with these polishes, just remember they are extremely flammable. All these paint, this just paint in a bottle, right? So it's very, very flammable. So you got to be careful when, you know, in some of these states you realize, I saw it the other day, I was shocked and shooketh. The lady was smoking a whole joint at the nail table, and I'm like lighting stuff and everything. She just, I was like, okay, girl, you about to blow yourself up. Right. All right. I guess in some states where it's legal, I guess that's a thing, to smoke a doobie with your client as you're doing their nails. I wouldn't be able to see straight. Right. All right. So there's some misnomers in the nail industry, and when you hear clients say things like, oh yeah, so someone says, so EMA is what we're supposed to be using. Yet you should be using EMA, not MMA. EMA stands for ethyl methacrylate, okay, not methyl methacrylate. All right. So when you hear terms like it's better for the nails, this is better for my nails, or don't say to your client, this is better for your nails. There's only one thing that's better for the nails, and that's to nothing. Don't put nothing on it. Leave them alone. Let them be natural. Okay. Anytime you do any altering or changing to your fingernails, it's going to be some type of, you know, damage. When you do it, the goal is not to have any damage. And so where you get that, meet that goal is when you become a skilled and educated nail professional. It is you are the problem when your clients have, and of course, unless they're going home and popping their nails off too, right? But you are the one who protects and nurtures the nail. You are the one that is going to be blamed when bad things happen, okay? Now clients will blame the product. Oh, acrylics made my nails so thin. Really? The acrylic did that? Okay, girl. Yeah, I only wear dip nails. You do know that's acrylic, right? What? Yeah. You know, they don't know this stuff. Again, you teach it to them, and they when they understand, it makes it better. All right. So, only got a couple more slides here. Now, protect yourself by wearing gloves when you are working with these chemicals. Even the dust can cause you to have irritation. Okay. So, try not to have any skin contact. Do not fall in the trap of bad habits, you guys. Wear gloves at all times. You'll see I wear gloves all the time. Yes.
My mom went to the salon the other day.
How dare she? To get her nails done?
Right, yeah. Yeah. And she had builder gel on from, I did it on her natural nails. And so the guy was like, what is this on your nail? And my sister had told my mom, like, it's builder gel that she put on there. He was like, oh no, you cannot use that. That causes cancer, and it causes, you can't have kids. And so my mom would come running to me.
What?
She said, go ask Miss Mary about this. And I said, okay. I said,
Girl, what are you painting it on your ovaries or something? Are you curing it? Like, I don't understand why someone would say that.
I don't know. He said something about in California they were using it. It might not happen now, but it just depends on how much you use it. And I was like,
Meanwhile, he probably got MMA in a bottle right there on his table and smoke cigarettes and do all of that. Talking about it. That is such a lie. There's no product out here that's going to keep you from having kids.
Yeah, I guess it scared my mom. Like, so I was like, I'm going to ask her, but I don't know about that.
Girl, no.
Maybe he just wanted her to start coming back to him.
That's all.
But yeah.
I mean, you got it on your nails.
Yeah.
You want kids one day? You better be careful. Don't put that on your nails. You ain't gonna be able to have kids. What? That is crazy. Don't listen to these people that can't even find it in their soul to go get a damn visa to be here, let alone they don't know what they're talking about. They can't find their way out of a paper bag. Talking about some.
I done been in a salon before. They want to pay you to go take their test for you.
Yeah.
They do all kinds.
Do you know how many nail salon owners have come to me and say they would give me $5,000 a head just to pass people through without them ever having to come in class. Trust me, it's very tempting. However, prison is not. Losing my livelihood, no. I'm like, I said, how many you got? I said, who gonna take the test for them? They don't speak English. She was like, don't worry, honey, we got that part down. I'm like, I mean, I literally could be just never, y'all, I wouldn't even deal with y'all with the amount of people that they would want me to do. And I'm like, I just can't do it. I'm not, it ain't in me to do that. You ain't about to see me on the damn TV, no.
Right.
Nope.
Like
My integrity is way more important to me than a little bit of money. I can make that. I just got to work a little harder. But yeah, they do it all the time. All right. So last couple slides here. So minimizing the exposure, you guys. So people usually think that toxic substances are dangerous poisons, right? You think if you hear toxic, then you think it's a poison or something. You know, you see the skull and crossbones, and right. But everything on earth is toxic to some degree.
That's exactly what I said.
Everything. Even the food we eat, some of it is toxic, okay? It's killing us a little bit every day, all right? So non-toxic is a made-up marketing term with no real precise specific meaning, okay? So they say that the Crayola crowns are non-toxic, right? But it go on and eat you 5 or 12 of them and see what happens, okay? You're not going to feel too good, and it's going to be farting rainbows, all right? So this guy right here, his name was Paracelsus. He's a famous physician from the 1600s. He said that all substances are poisons. Okay, there is none that is not a poison. Only the dose differentiates a poison versus a remedy. So why I bring that up is that, you know, when it comes to nails, you know, yeah, none of it's good. Really, none of it is good. But how well you take care of them and how you apply it and how you understand the chemistry behind it and things of that nature will determine whether or not you continue to wear them properly and keep healthy nails, okay? So understanding how to safely use and handle your products is important. So there's usually going to be with a professional product something known as a SDS sheet, a safety data sheet. And you've probably seen these, like I see them hanging up in Sam's. When y'all ever been in Sam's and noticed that little eye wash station they have up at the front, and it's got the MSDS forms, material safety data forms, that if you get bleach in your eye, you got to run over here and like put the water in your eye. Like they have that there. Okay, and professional products you should be able to download the safety data sheets for those products, so that you know if you get glue in your eye that you need to run to the ER. Okay, so that they can fix it. You just don't try to do just put a little water in it. That's not gonna help. So that it's very important to know what would happen if you ingested a product or. This is why I don't allow kids in my salon. I had a kid try to drink monomer one time. It was purple, looked like Gatorade, right? Well, what do you do when you got 5-year-olds running around your salon and they trying to drink the monomer? They probably licking the glass on the way. Just bad. I don't allow children in my salon. I don't know about y'all, but y'all can do what y'all want to do. I'm not doing it. All right. So overexposure determines whether or not something is toxic, right? You can be exposed too much to something and become allergic to it, just like I said before, okay? Now, preventing inhalation exposure. Okay, so let's talk about something real quick. Y'all have seen these airbrush guns, right, with the gel in it, right? We used to use airbrush with the paint, right? And they wore masks back then because it was spraying the paint. You didn't want to breathe it in your nose. But these gel airbrush guns, like Gel X has one, Young Nails has one. Let me tell y'all. So the creator of Light Elegance, he is a chemist. Light Elegance is a gel company, one of my favorite gel companies.
I heard about them. They're really good, but they're professional, so you can't get them without a license.
Yeah, you can't buy them without a license. Okay. Now you guys now are students. You should be able to buy it now. You can do it as a student. All these professional websites have student discounts too. Tammy Taylor has it. Young Nails has a student discount. Everybody who's professional has student discounts. Anyhow, so he made a video. I tried to find it last night. I couldn't find it. It's on his TikTok. He was like, yeah, these products are perfectly fine to use as long as you do this. Okay, this spraying the gel in the air, because you think about it, this gel, I just said that you don't want to touch it, right? So you definitely don't want it in your lungs. So he was like, what do you need to do? Oh, all you need to do is wear a long t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt when you're using it. You need to have gloves that go up over the t-shirt. He said you need to wear a hazmat mask and a full covering over your entire body, because that gel is going to be floating in the air. You're going to breathe it, and you're going to end up with overexposure, and it's going to one day, eventually, now talk about cancer, lung cancer or something like that. You over here breathing all this airbrush gel down your lungs. It's bad enough, the other stuff we breathe all day long, all right? But that is, and then he said, oh, and make sure your client's wearing it too, and then you can use it. Otherwise, do not do it. Do not put gel in the airbrush gun and spray it in the air. Do not do it. Just dab it. I dabbed the hell out of some nails the other night. Dab, dab, dab. Okay, you better learn how to use these techniques to get the same result. Now, or go back to airbrush paint. Airbrush paint is a whole lot better than gel floating in the air, breathing in a chemical like that. But even the airbrush paint is probably dangerous for you. But I can tell you now, gel, air gel and all that stuff, it's not good for you, okay? Yeah, the dab method does work better anyway, okay? So proper ventilation is required in most states, or even cities are going to require you to have proper ventilation. What is proper ventilation? Fan, air conditioning, okay? A lot of cities, they're not even going to let you open a business if you don't have air conditioning, right? Okay, so something that's circulating the air, okay? Fan, an open window, because you don't want to sit in here and smell all those vapors all day long. It may give you a headache, and some people, to me, it smells like money. I love the smell of monomer. It smells like we making money in here, y'all. All right, but some people can't handle it. Okay, now the last slide here, a mask. Please wear a mask when you guys are filing, right? This one is a little bit extreme. This is an N95. Those are, kind of expensive, but they fit around your mouth and your nose perfectly. Okay, they fit perfectly. Now these are not effective against any smells like the vapors and everything, but it will keep you from having to breathe in that dust and stuff, okay? So, does everybody understand what we talked about today? Well enough to take an exam?
It was a lot.
It was a lot, yeah. Y'all pay a lot, I give a lot. If I came in here and I was like, hey, y'all, let's watch YouTube. I'm like, I know I ain't paying this lady $150 a week to watch YouTube. I can do that at home. Okay? So, hopefully you took a few notes. All right. I'm going to end this live real quick. This YouTube live.